Coming up on UCF Nightly News, students can now keep guns in their cars on campus. We'll tell you what students are saying about the new policy.
Later, we'll take a look at where UCF stands in a national survey on eating disorders among college students. One student shares her story with Nightly News.
Recently, UCF suffered several tragic losses. The community is reaching out to mourn the fallen knights.
Nightly News starts now.
Good afternoon and welcome to Nightly News. I'm Blaise DaCosta.
And I'm Marissa Crick. Today is Friday, January 17th.
UCF recently adopted a new policy this week that will change the way students can have weapons on campus. Nightly News reporter Stephanie Wooster tells us what the policy says and how students are reacting.
A Florida court ruled early this month that colleges and universities in the state don't have the authority to prohibit guns from being stored in cars. Other universities across the state released new policies last week allowing guns to be kept in cars on campus, and UCF is now following suit.
UCF spokesman Grant Heston said the university had to change its policy after the recent court ruling. He said while the exact wording of the policy is still being developed, students can currently keep a gun in their car on campus. The gun just has to be in a case like this one and not in plain sight.
Students across campus have mixed feelings about the new policy. Some feel they have a legal right to have a gun on campus, while others aren't sure about the idea.
If students think that they need to protect themselves, they should be able to. I mean, that's part of the Constitution. We should be able to protect ourselves.
Seems just really unsettling just to think that people might be carrying guns in their vehicles. Then again, if somebody's a criminal and they have the intent to use that to harm people, they wouldn't really care if the university had a law against it or not.
Heston says students, faculty, and staff will be notified when the new policy is officially updated. Reporting in Orlando, Stephanie Wooster, UCF Nightly News.
The new policy went into effect immediately after it was released on Monday.
Members of the Gamma Phi Beta sorority will hold a memorial service tonight to honor a sister. Savannah Whirl, a sister of the sorority, died in a car accident on January 5th. The vigil will be held at the Reflection Pond at 6 p.m. and everyone is welcome to join. The UCF community suffered another loss this week. Professor Charles Lako passed away suddenly on Monday after an illness. He was a longtime faculty member for the School of Business. The director for the School of Accounting in the college says he will be missed by everyone in the department. There will be a public visitation from 6 to 8 p.m. on Monday, January 20th at Collison Funeral Home in Winter Park. Soon, UCF students might have to show proof of health insurance to attend the university. UCF officials are talking about making it a requirement for enrollment in fall 2015. Right now, 1 in 5 students at UCF don't have health insurance. If you're one of those students who doesn't need health coverage, you won't have to worry about getting insurance if this proposal passes. Director of the UCF Health Services, Dr. Michael Dyken, says current students will be exempt from the requirement.
To start, for instance, in 2015 with a requirement for new students. So no students right now would be negatively impacted, would face the requirement.
If the proposal passes, students who don't have health insurance can get an insurance policy through UCF Health Services. And you'll be able to use financial aid to pay for it.
Time now for our first look at our weather. Sarah joins us with a look at our first forecast.
And Sarah, the weather is looking a little chilly out there.
It is, Marissa, and it's only going to get colder as the night goes on. So if you ladies have a jacket, I would definitely recommend bringing it out with you tonight. We're going to dip down back into the 40s tonight, but luckily there's not going to be any rain, so you're not going to have that wet cold. But it isn't going to stay like this throughout the next 5 days. So if you tune in a little bit later for the 5-day forecast, we'll be able to tell you how it's going to warm up throughout the week.
Thanks, Sarah. I'm always cold, so it's great advice. A recent survey shows that up to 6% of college students experience eating disorders. Nightly News reporter Alexa Rodriguez tells us where UCF falls in that national statistic.
It got to the point where I was like throwing up Tic Tacs.
UCF student Stephanie Isaac isn't alone. A survey by the American College Health Association reports more than 3% of UCF students had eating concerns in the past year. That puts UCF in the middle of the national average. One mental health counselor says students develop eating disorders to gain control of their lives.
People think, oh, they're just doing it for beauty or vanity, and a lot of times it has nothing to do with that, but it's more so a control mechanism.
At 16, Isaac weighed 84 pounds, and her parents sent her to a treatment center for 4 months.
I didn't really think I had a problem in the beginning. I think that's the whole denial phase, like you don't really know, and people are telling you, my mom's like, you look disgusting, and I was like, oh, she's just saying that because she doesn't want me to be thinner than her.
Mental health therapists, dietitians, and even psychiatrists are just some of the resources UCF has to offer, but experts say it doesn't matter which option the student chooses, just as long as they try to get help. Moore says students trying to overcome an eating disorder should realize that they can't do it alone. She added that most college students don't get help because of stigma and shame. Isaac advises people like herself to seek the help they need.
You don't want to get to that place. You don't ever want to have to go to treatment if you can do it willingly on your own.
In Orlando, Alexa Rodriguez, UCF Nightly News.
If you or someone you know is struggling with an eating disorder, contact either counseling and psychological services or the health center on campus.
Venezuelan police are getting closer to finding the killers of former UCF student Monica Spear. After an emotional funeral last Friday, authorities have now arrested 10 individuals in connection to the death. They say the suspects are part of a local gang known as the Bloodsuckers, a group of bandits who have been robbing cars in the countryside. Here in Orlando, Spear's death has the Venezuelan community wondering just how safe it is to visit home.
At the end of the day, it happens a lot in Venezuela, and just like seeing it so close, someone like, a night at the end of the day, it actually affected us. It was just created that question of, like, could it happen to us?
Spear and her ex-husband were fatally shot during a robbery on January 6th. The couple's 5-year-old daughter survived the attack. The child's grandparents, who live in Orlando, will raise her. Still ahead on Nightly News reporter Emily Arroyo joins us live in the newsroom. She'll tell us about a new law that will help victims of human trafficking in Florida.
January is a month for awareness, and we'll tell what services UCF's Health Center provides to help prevent cancer.
Human trafficking is an issue you might not know a lot about. Yet 14,000 to 17,000 victims are either kidnapped, sold into slavery, or forced into prostitution each year in the U.S.
Central Florida authorities alone find at least one victim a week. Florida has recently enacted a new law to try and help survivors of trafficking. Emily Arroyo joins us from the Nightly Newsroom. Emily, the new law will clear a victim's criminal charges, is that right?
That's right, Marissa. The law enacted January 1st established a legal process for victims of human trafficking to get their criminal records wiped clean. The law is expected to apply mostly to prostitution charges. Some activists in Orlando are concerned that the legal process might be too complicated or dangerous to actually work.
Ashley Dillon helps sexually trafficked women at an Orlando halfway house. She believes the law would be dangerous to victims who must testify against the people who force them into prostitution.
But it comes at such a high price, and if you're recognizing them as a victim, which is what's enabling you to then ask for their assistance in the case, then you also have to realize that your law can't re-victimize someone.
Despite potential problems, officials from the Greater Orlando Human Trafficking Task Force say they are happy with the new law. Thomas Lars with the group says the new law is a victory, but he also says that preventing people from falling victim to begin with is important.
So that always has an impact when we can stop, kind of the root of an issue, rather than intervention later, where you have to kind of what is this real rehabilitation going to look like, the cost.
Both Dillon and Lars agree that more money is needed to help survivors fully recover. If you want to get involved, there will be an event on the 25th to raise awareness about human trafficking and its victims. To find out more, visit our website, nightlynews.ucf.edu. Marissa?
Thank you, Emily. January is Cervical Cancer Awareness Month. The most recent report from the National Cancer Institute shows that more than 4,000 people died last year due to this type of cancer. UCF Health Center officials are making a call to all students to inform them how to detect and prevent the disease. The report's data show 12,000 new cases in 2013. Health experts say cervical cancer can be caused by sexually transmitted diseases, such as human papillomavirus. The CDC reports that 1 out of 4 college students will get this virus. Here on campus, the UCF Health Center offers different services to treat sexually transmitted diseases, like screenings and vaccines to keep students healthy and to prevent cervical cancer.
Annual exams. We have pap smears for women over 21. We follow the national guidelines for that. We offer we have ultrasound if needed, depending on what they present with their symptoms. We have full range of sexually transmitted infection screening.
Yerke says any student can get the vaccine or screening test for a low price at the clinic. Doctors recommend to get a pap test every year after the age of 21.
If you live on campus, you've probably noticed your internet might be a little slow, but one organization on campus is doing something to fix this problem. Students who live on campus are disappointed with the Wi-Fi speed. They say they lose signal when they're in the middle of taking tests. However, UCF's Student Government Association is working with the Technology Fee Committee to fix that problem. SGA Vice President Jacob Kahn tells us extra money is available to upgrade Wi-Fi speed.
To do upgrades on campus for technology services is based off of a $5.16 credit hour that every student is assessed and they have to pay.
The money that every student pays will go towards upgrading internet speed on campus and student housing. Kahn tells Nightly News that the students will be able to see the upgrade soon. If you were at the Recreation and Wellness Center this week, you may have seen some Marines playing a different kind of volleyball. The UCF Rec and Wellness Center hosted the U.S. Marine Corps' Wounded Warriors Regiment this week for their second visit to campus. Wounded, ill, and injured Marines trained for seated volleyball and wheelchair basketball. The training camps provide non-medical care to the Marines as they heal and return to duty or transition to a civilian life.
And it's good for the new people that are coming from overseas or here in the United States, you know, to tell them, hey, you know, there's bigger and better things out there. You know, don't sit around, you know, and just deal with your injuries. You know, overcome them and come out to these camps and meet people like you. You know, you can learn and still be active.
The next level after training is the Marine Corps Trials. There, Marines could be selected to go to the Warrior Games, a Paralympic event hosted by the U.S. Olympic Committee. Next month, the Rec and Wellness Center will hold an expo for disabled students. The day-long expo will feature many adaptive recreation events and be open to the UCF community and the public.
You might want to carry around a sweater this week. After the break, Sarah Smith tells us what to expect for the next couple of days.
You might have noticed the new shuttles around campus. We'll tell you why UCF changed its wheels.
It's out with the old and in with the new for UCF shuttles this year. According to last year's Parking and Transportation report, UCF's contract with Horizon Coach Lines was not renewed after last December. This was to pursue a better deal with another company. UCF signed Veola Transportation to a 6.5-year contract that started earlier this semester. But one UCF student says she has mixed feelings about the new smaller shuttles.
I really like the outside, but it's a little small on the inside. This morning we had to skip a few stops because it was full.
UCF officials say the new shorter buses are a heavy-duty design and have fewer service issues. They have 29 seats and handrails for students to stand in the aisles safely. The Parking and Transportation report shows the new shuttles will help reduce traffic and parking on campus. Career Services at UCF held their expo prep Wednesday afternoon in the Pegasus Ballroom. The event gave students the chance to prepare for the Spring 2014 Career Expo. The seminar offered resume critiques and interviews with professionals to get ready for the big event, January 28th at the CFE Arena. Students and alumni are invited to network with more than 200 employers. Igor Volkov, Assistant Director of Career Services at UCF, says students can expect this event to be quite competitive.
Yeah, they should expect to have a lot of dressed up students, quite a big number of employers, probably more than 200, and we expect to basically be able to pitch to employers what they have to offer to the companies.
Volkov also says students will be able to prepare last minute before the expo begins. For more information on the Spring 2014 Career Expo, visit nightlynews.ucf.edu. Now let's take a look at our weather. Sarah Smith has our forecast.
Thanks, Marissa. If you take a look at the state of Florida, we've got a range of temperatures going on, but it's not too crazy. As you can see up in Jacksonville and Tallahassee, we're in the low 50s. As you move into Tampa, we're only at 50 degrees. And as usual, Miami is a little bit warmer, but still only at 54 degrees. If you come back up to Orlando, we're only at the 50s borderline, low 50s. Now, this is nothing compared to our national temperatures. If you think we're cold, you don't even know what's coming for people in the Northwest, or in the Midwest. It's actually down in the freezing temperatures, in the negatives, as you can see in the dark blues and purples compared to Florida, where we're still in the reds and oranges. Now, this cold weather comes with some precipitation as well. Up in the Midwest, they're experiencing snow, sleet, and rain, so they're having to deal with all that ice, things that we don't normally have to deal with. As we take a look at our 5-day forecast, you're going to see a rise in temperatures. First, we're going to drop back down as we move into Saturday, a high of 55. But as we move into Monday, that Martin Luther King holiday, we're going to move back up into the 70s. It's going to be sunny all weekend, which will be really nice, but Tuesday brings a 20% chance of rain. And Wednesday, we're going to drop back down to 60, so you'll be able to pull out your sweaters, boots again. Just make sure you have an umbrella on Tuesday, especially if you're going to be on campus, because even with a 20% chance of rain, this is Florida, so it's probably going to rain if we have any chance at all. But you can still enjoy the weekend with the degrees in the 70s and that sunny kind of atmosphere compared to our friends in the Midwest who are experiencing snow, sleet, and the dangerous icy roads. So at least we don't have to deal with that. We can enjoy our beautiful Sunshine State. Okay. Marissa and Blaze, make sure you guys remember to bring a jacket and your umbrella on Tuesday.
We'll make sure to remember that. Thank you.
Yeah, definitely great to know. Still ahead on Nightly News, the football team's Fiesta celebration ended at Disney this past weekend. But star Blake Bortles was nowhere to be seen. We explain why the star won't be coming back to UCF.
But the Fiesta Bowl isn't UCF's only championship win. A team of women proved football isn't just for men. Sports is up next.
Fans, I'm Chris Groh with your UCF Sports Update. The Fiesta Bowl celebration ended with a bang for the Knights. This past weekend, Black and Gold took over the happiest place on earth. Knights of all ages gathered around Disney's Magic Kingdom to cheer on the school's football success. The football team, marching band, and spirit squad took part in UCF's own parade right on Main Street. Mickey Mouse joined UCF President Hitt, Athletic Director Todd Stansbury, and football coach George O'Leary as they rode in style, waving at the crowd. This marks the first time Disney has ever held a parade in honor of UCF. Now, one key player from the Fiesta Bowl victory was absent from the parade. If you thought he was coming back, think again. Last Monday, quarterback Blake Bortles declared for the NFL draft. Just 5 days later, Bortles signed with Rep One Sports Agency. By signing with an agent, Bortles can no longer play college football. The story was originally reported by Yahoo Sports and the Orlando Sentinel. Rep One Sports represents Pittsburgh Steelers quarterback Ben Roethlisberger and former UCF running back Latavius Murray. UCF finished #1 in football this season, but we're not talking about the Fiesta Bowl.
It was like almost like it wasn't even an option. Like we needed to win. Like it was our time.
2 weeks ago, a UCF women's flag football team won a national championship. These girls not only won all 5 games in the tournament, but they've remained undefeated since April of last year. That means they've won more than 50 straight games, including regional, state, and national tournaments. It wasn't always easy. Coach Brandon Berruti says it was a process that began in January of last year.
The feeling was great, especially with everything we went through at the tournament because we had injuries, our quarterback went down, another girl couldn't play in the last 2 games. So the feeling was like great, but it was also like a relief because we had worked so hard and we knew we were capable.
In Berruti and Tomi's last game together, UCF won 27-0. It's been quite a rough patch, though, for the UCF women's basketball team. Last Friday, starting point guard Brianna Jackson quit the team. We tried to reach out to Jackson, but she hasn't responded back. It's not clear if she intends to transfer. Jackson averaged over 17 points and dished out 2.5 assists per game. The Knights really missed Jackson's scoring this week. Wednesday night, the Knights lost to #5 Louisville 75-56. The Knights are 0-2 since Jackson has left the program. That's all the time we have for now. Thanks for joining us.
If you have a story idea or a comment about something you've seen here on Nightly News, email us at nightlynews@ucf.edu.
And be sure to check us out online at nightlynews.ucf.edu. Join us here again next week. Until then, have a great weekend.